Joining me today out of retirement from Los Angeles,
I hate
California,
you.
Sally Jesse Raphael.
Again, I said you weren't. You said you were gonna get loud. You got freaking loud.
That was an introduction, though. It's
Okay,
different than normal
all right,
talking.
Whatever.
Did you know I was going to say that?
Yes, as soon as you started saying it, I knew it.
Yeah, they're going to be able to hear that on the microphone.
Definitely gonna be able to hear them. If they hear them, they just hear them.
Listen,
There's nothing we can do about that.
We are on like day 5 of 8 with rain. We had like 2 days off, and then it's been raining nonstop. So the dogs are on the floor playing right now, and you're going to hear them. And I don't hate it. I'm not mad at it.
There's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, rain, go away. And then
Yeah.
it's going to get cold as shit this week.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Not excited at all.
Very excited. Do you know why I'm excited?
Because you're from Ohio and you like cold weather?
I like seasons, and cold is a season. However, I do prefer the fall season, but we're now to winter. It's time to be winter, so I'm excited.
For what it's worth, I actually like your Sally Jesse Raphael glasses. They're always sexy when you wear them. Are they vanity or are they real?
They're blue light glasses.
Yeah. And let me just tell you, folks, Annie took a shower today.
I did
and
take a
she's
shower.
wearing her pajamas.
Yes.
And if you look close enough, this was Blakely during her long-eared era.
I
And
have
we,
to sit up
we
a little
weren't
bit.
crazy
I
about
at least
that
did
era.
look. I at least put a bra on, so
Yeah,
because
thank you for
she's
putting a
hitting
bra on,
both
jeez.
both boobs right there.
I
These.
actually haven't showered today. I had all intentions, but
you're
you know, I
nasty.
did cardio this morning. Then I had to go show a house like right after the gym, and then I got back and just work kind of started, and I honestly just hadn't had a chance to. So.
Well, I did take a shower, but I knew what I was going to do today was going to be nothing but work in my office. So
Yeah.
I thought, why not just be
Be
cozy,
comfortable.
comfy? And
Yeah.
so I am. I put on my favorite. This is one of 2 favorite pair of
you
pajamas.
better say that.
Because these have Blakely's face all over them, and my other ones have the Lincoln face. I will say now, you ordered these from the same company, right?
And you very rarely wear Lincoln ones. Now
Well,
that you say that,
So, okay, that's not true. Well, first of all, I only got them last year.
What color
so you
are
can't
they?
say they're purple,
Okay.
and they're in my drawer downstairs. They're in the rotation next. So, but they're even though they're from the same company, they're both from like a Chinese company. Like you got them from overseas, and they feel different. They
we're
are
going to say foreign. We're
Okay.
not going to limit it just to Chinese.
whatever. They definitely are different.
Yeah.
And specifically the ones that are Lincolns, the purple ones, are the pants aren't as long, which I don't like because that makes them, short or whatever. And the material feels slightly different.
Yeah,
So
it's not quite as soft, I don't think.
it's not.
Yeah.
And Blakely's are pretty worn. Like I'm getting those little
Naps on them or whatever.
yeah, I don't like that either. So I feel like I'm gonna need a new pair of Blakely ones
Yeah,
soon.
but we need a new picture because long-eared era was not her
Yeah.
best look.
Well, I feel like we've got a lot of pictures to work from
No,
for Blakely if
really?
we need to. But so, anywho, I'm also excited because it is Winter Wonderland coming to
Oh my
life this
gosh.
week. I'm so excited. It has been such a long. I feel like it was supposed to only take me about a week, and then I think 2 weeks. That 1 week
Well, the
turned
rain,
into 2 weeks.
but the rain hurt
And then
a
the
little
2
bit.
weeks turned into 3 weeks because of all the rain. Like
Yeah.
it's really put me behind, and because I really hope to have it done at a minimum this past weekend, and before that, really it was the weekend before that, and I didn't make it.
Yeah, but just think from here on out, assuming all this stuff lasts through the year, the rain, all that stuff, from here on out, you'll just be adding to it. So next year, like you know how to do a lot of stuff. What's one thing you
I'm
do
not-
differently?
Yeah, you talking about?
Yeah, if you could say, okay, 3 weeks ago I should have done blah 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 differently. What would it be?
Nothing. I should have not
Started period.
Yeah, no, I should have started a month ago or 2 months ago instead of waiting till like a week and a half.
I think
before
it's gonna be
wanted
really
put
cool
up.
though. It's starting to
But
come together.
I'm very proud of myself. I made a lot of things. Ashley helped me do the cutout things, and that was the hardest part. Like TikTok really did me wrong. Like seriously did me wrong because this was not easy.
I mean, TikTok's not going to be like, "Hey guys, don't do this because you're going to want to
Yeah, but
pull your
even
hair
the way
out."
she was doing it, I was like, okay, I can do
And
that.
you did
I can
do
that.
it.
And I did, but my God,
Yeah,
it was
I'm
a
excited
lot.
I'm excited for the final product.
It
And
was
you're
a
going to
lot.
probably maybe have some hot cocoa this weekend in your little igloo.
Absolutely. Why did you say that?
I said
That's a surprise. We're cutting that out.
the igloo's a
It
surprise.
can't.
Okay. Forget I said igloo. We're act like we're in court, and you know when the judge says,
I'm cutting that out.
You strike that."
Striking
Do
that.
people in the jury ever strike it? I mean, I know that they
No,
can't.
once it's said, it's
Yeah,
said.
I know
How do
that they
you-
can't bring it up like a reason, but that's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Strike that from the you could strike it from the record, but the jury absolutely is going to live with that.
Still take it into
That's
consideration.
that's
Yeah.
silly.
It's very strange. So anyway, I'm very excited about that just because all of the Christmas lights, it just makes me, it gives me such joy. It puts me in such a happy headspace, and just, I am so excited. And I know everybody's giving people crap about like putting their Christmas up before Thanksgiving, but if you think about it, like Christmas, I think Thanksgiving is kind of late this year.
Well, it's the
And
28th versus
you
yeah.
literally have just a few weeks before Christmas,
To enjoy
and so
it, yeah.
and it's so much work. So you need to go ahead and put it up, which is why I'm kind of irritated that it's taken me this long to get all of that together. But
So I'm the president of our HOA in our neighborhood, and Annie and I, the last couple of years have put up the Christmas lights up front and everything else. And the guy who was our president before that, he did it and whatnot. And so we're looking around these neighborhoods, and I'm like, man, this neighborhood looks good. This one looks good. I called and got some quotes on that stuff. And let's just say,
come here.
Annie and I will be decorating the front of our neighborhood again because I know that they do a great job with it, and I think that it's all competitively priced with one another and that kind of thing. But I was just like, man, I just cannot stomach that. So anyhow, we have decided, or Annie has decided, this just in, guys.
Oh my God.
Another idea. She's now going to start decorating them Christmas lights next year because of how much money you can make.
Oh, jeez. No, I am not. However, we've done the neighborhood, I guess, twice. And the first year we didn't have lights. Last year we added lights around the entranceway, like on the ground, like a runway almost, and it looked so pretty, and I love that. However, the stakes that we got were not they weren't professional grade, let's just say that.
Yeah.
And so I've researched it, and as soon as I researched it last year, I knew what I did wrong. I was like, damn, I shouldn't have ordered this stuff or whatever, but it was already done deal. We had to go with it. But this year, if I'm putting them out, then we are getting the professional grade stakes. We are upgrading, and these bitches, they ain't gonna fall over.
Yeah. We had a car run into them last year.
We did have a car.
We got a message from
ran over
them up on the curb. We got a message from one of the neighbors and was like, "Guys, I'm so sorry." I was like, "I'll pay for it." Blah blah blah. I'm like, "Bro, it's not even on the turn-in part. Like it's just."
He said
he had to have been on the phone.
Coffee.
Oh,
no, he
okay.
said he spilled his coffee.
Yeah.
And that made him run over.
So, anyways, he at least told us. I'm like, well, that's good because we're surrounded by security cameras in our neighborhood, so we would have found out who it was, anyways.
Yeah, but anyway, so if I'm gonna do them, we're gonna these jokers are gonna. It's gonna be like the Grinch. At the Grinch, she had that Miss Martha Mayhew. What's her name? Martha Mayhew.
No idea.
Who? Anyway, she had the machine. It was like on the up on the house, and that's that's.
But honestly, like given the disadvantage we had last year with the steaks that we had ordered, I thought it looked pretty dang good.
It looked pretty good, but you know what? Our friends made fun of us because as soon as they came to our house after we put them up, we had kind of made a big deal about putting them up, and of course they all
three lights are all for it.
And they weren't being a little bit crooked or this
right.
Or whatever.
First of all,
these little steaks. Listen, you want to understand and know how to do this? Call me because I've YouTubed it all. I know exactly what to do. These steaks that we used last year were shit.
And our friends were not harassed. They were harassing because they know how OCD I am about that stuff, and they knew that if they said so and so was crooked, it was going to throw me into a tizzy. So anyhow,
that's true. That is true.
But so we'll be doing that stuff on our own. So if you live in my neighborhood, you should appreciate that we're trying to be good stewards of our money. And if anybody gives me shit at our annual meeting in March, I'm liable to lose it, drop the mic, and say, well, y'all can do this shit your own self.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I don't think that'll happen. So.
But we won't because I want the entrance to look nice. I cannot do cheesy. Our neighborhood cannot. Yeah. We can't do cheesy.
Yeah, I agree. We didn't do cheesy last year.
We didn't.
Yeah.
But anyway. So,
But Winter Wonderland, I'm excited about it.
I'm excited about
You have
Winter
already
Wonderland.
impressed me, and it's not even. I'd say it's getting there, but it's not even done yet, and you have already like exceeded my expectation, and I'm very proud of you. It looks good. I
Thank
cannot
you.
wait to see like the final product.
Yeah, the only reason it's not really completely done is because I didn't want to put the trees out in the rain.
And you know how I am. Like you're gonna have to beat me from going and doing live video or pictures, or I'll just kind of let you do your thing, versus like getting excited and posting it. So
yeah, so but as far as you're asking me, what will I add to it next year? I don't.
that's actually not what I asked you.
What did you ask me?
What I asked you was, what is one thing you would change about kind of the process this year?
I would start much earlier.
Okay, good answer.
I would probably start in September.
So next September, no, let's put dibs on the. I guarantee she won't start until November.
Listen. I hope that these
It will
things
not
I make, because I made things, and I hope the things that I made, I hope they.
If they last, yeah, they
until
will.
next year, because I will be devastated if not.
The rain is the only thing I'm
it was
concerned with.
a lot of work. And I originally thought, oh, these are going to be easy, and people are going to want, when they see it, they're going to want it. It's going to be so cute, because the girl on TikTok, what she did is she put them on the front of her house, and that was very pretty. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put it in the backyard.
But next year you should. I mean, you really should. That way everyone can see it and enjoy it.
I suppose it's a possibility that I made more. And I thought, well, I could just make these because people are going to want them. And after I made them, I'm like, fuck that shit. That is not happening. These are too hard to make.
Yeah.
But part of it was I needed a sander that wasn't battery operated.
But it kind of helps you understand like why
things are priced the way they are.
Yeah,
for sure. I couldn't charge enough to be worth my time to do that.
Yeah.
So I get that completely. But anyway, so I'm excited about that. And then, so we did a teaser last week.
Oh, yeah.
Did you remember?
Did we do the teaser?
I think we did.
We did a teaser about a non-traditional clearing. What do you call it?
Hold on, first of all, can we time out a second before we go there?
Sure.
Can we talk about last week's episode a little bit?
Yeah.
Did you even listen to it?
I did go back and listen to it.
Were you uncomfortable?
It was honestly, full transparency. When I listened back to it, it was not as bad as I remembered it being while we were doing it. Because I remember as we were doing it, I'm like, what in the hell are we doing? Like, how did we even get here?
You took
like
us
all
there,
I did was talk about the TikTok thing because it just blew my mind. And I guarantee I would like to know from listeners that their TikTok is since they've heard about it or talked about it.
But I haven't really been on TikTok.
Has it started on theirs? But anyhow, that was really my intent, was just to say that and how mind blown I was by that. And the next thing you know, so anyways, we apologize. We did not intend for it to go that direction.
I don't apologize for that.
I did not intend for it to go that direction. But anyhow, it was a good conversation, and I've actually had some dialogue with some people who are like, look, I'm just glad y'all were willing to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad that you guys are willing to talk about whatever it is in your life and not,
you didn't tell me that.
Sugarcoat it. It was just today. In fact, it was just here recently. But I'll tell you about it after this. But
yeah, I thought it was a good conversation. I found another podcast through anyway, it doesn't matter how I found it, but and I just started the episode and I haven't even gotten through it. And I don't know, honestly, their voices, I'm not 100% sure I can listen to it. But if I do, it is a podcast about couples and sex. And this couple actually, there's 3 of them, and I think they're 3 of the 4 that do stuff together. And they're, doing this whole series on, why they do it and what it does for the relationship and this and that and blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like, this is interesting.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, because I just started listening to it this morning, and again, their voices, I think they have accents. They're from somewhere, not necessarily around here. And I don't know the way that they kind of go on. I'm not sure I can stay engaged, but if so, then I will share what I learned from that, because it's just very interesting to me. The whole dynamic is extremely interesting, in how they feel as though being with other couples makes their sex life better, or not their sex life, their life, just in general, their love for each other. And that's just, it's so foreign. It's such a foreign concept to me because I'm so jealous. Like, I don't understand it, but I'm just interested to hear what they have to say. Anyway, so I don't apologize for last week's episode, and I don't really know where I was going with that. I don't think I've had anybody say anything to me, which I'm thankful that nobody saw me at Kroger and brought it up. So I do appreciate that.
Well, so this conversation was more about,
Is
hey,
that a blackhead on your nose?
why would you say that?
Because I can see it from here. So I'm
first of all, no, it's a scab.
Oh, okay.
You know, I had his. Why would you say that
Because
on video?
I'm staring at
I can't
it.
wait. I can't wait till you have a blemish
Listen, I got
on
one
camera.
coming up on my nose
Yep,
right here.
and next week it's gonna be talked about. Trust, it's gonna be talked about. But anyways, they'd said something about, hey, I'm glad you gave the
Disclaimer?
warning, the disclaimer about not listening to it with kiddos. And I said, yeah, and I knew she had just started listening this past week, and I said, honestly, last week's was probably
That's
the
as far as
worst episode or whatever.
That's the most. It's not bad. It's just the most real, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
From a standpoint,
And
sex.
probably
It's the
most of the
sex. Like,
taboo.
Yeah, that we've talked about.
Because there's a lot of people who probably don't do that. There's a lot of people who don't believe in it or what. But anyhow, so she was like, I'm glad you get it. I said, yeah, cool. I said, that was probably the worst episode. And I said, oh, Jesus, where was I going? Oh, and so that's how it kind of led to, well,
okay.
I'm just glad that y'all were able to be communicative with each other about topic. I don't know.
Is that a word?
People say it all the time. I can't. I normally don't because I fuck it up like I just did right there. I normally just say that y'all communicate with each other, but she used the word communicative. So
Oh my god.
you say it then.
Communicative.
Right. You pause just like I did. Communicative.
Oh, well, I listened to it and then I went and watched the YouTube as well. And I cannot sit still. I am moving around in that YouTube. And the reason being, my back was hurting so bad. I was constantly, like, I was shaking, I was moving, like, and it probably looked like I was just very nervous having the conversation, but it was like my back was hurting so badly that I could not get comfortable, and I was just constantly having to move.
I'll tell you how intrigued I was to go back and listen to it. I listened to it at the gym, which I never would do because I'm normally like a music guy.
Oh, wow.
But I was like, I gotta listen to this. So as soon as I got on in fact, I started listening to it in the locker room before I even got on the elliptical, and then I was just dialed in at that point.
Did you laugh out loud at yourself?
A couple times, yeah, a couple times. I'm like, that's when you look around like they're probably like, what is this? But anyhow, I'm glad I guess I'm glad we talked about it because I do want this to be a podcast where we just openly talk about whatever.
Yeah.
Because then, when you get to where you're kind of cherry picking stuff or not being open about stuff, then that just kind of defeats the purpose of it. It kind of loses the authenticity. So anyhow, if that wasn't your jam, then we're sorry. If it sparked a conversation with your partner, then you're welcome. And hopefully that helped you guys. Or if you had to like kind of internally soak it in and think about things differently yourself, you're also welcome.
And if you have any questions about sex, let us know. We'll be happy to answer those for you.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that whole conversation, and I was kind of talking about, if Mom were still alive, would I still be doing this podcast? Would I talk about the same things? Whatever. Anyway, so it kind of made me start thinking about when did your parents have the sex talk with you? And if so, how old were you? Was it your dad? Was it your mom? Was it your both? Whatever.
It was my dad. I was young.
Shout out Johnny K.
I was too young.
Too
young.
Wait, what does that mean?
Because I was far too young. But anyways.
To have the talk?
Yeah. Like, I don't remember having the talk before having the talk. Like, I remember.
I'm so confused about the talk before the talk.
We didn't have a pre-talk. Like, we didn't have a, you got to do this, blah, blah. I remember going in, I said, Dad, I got to talk to you about something. He goes in the room. I think I'm standing there, maybe sitting, he said, you got your dick wet, didn't you? And I said, God darn it. That's literally what he said. And he was like, well, I hope you use protection. And I was like, I did. I got into your nightstand, whatever. So then he went with me and made me go buy condoms at that point. So
your dad was using condoms?
I guess, yeah.
That makes me sick to my stomach to think about.
Well, now that I think, I didn't check the date on them, so maybe they were from 10 years. I don't know the answer to that, but it was hindsight. Like when you're like, it's like, what in the fuck was I thinking? That I don't want to say the age, but it was.
I think you've already said the age. We've already had a whole I think podcast about how young you were. Or
Oh, I didn't
whatever.
think we had. So if we've already talked about it, I don't need to
Maybe
talk
it was
about it
first
again.
kiss. I don't remember.
It was
but-
first kiss. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Because I remember the conversation now, and I remember one of our friends telling us they one upped me on this story.
So did you ever talk about sex with your mom?
Uh, if I did, I don't recall. Like I can't. You see, my mom was a pretty private person. You know what I mean? Like she wasn't out there quite as much as I am. Like my sister gets a lot of that from her. And like if you knew her and whatnot, she's somewhat outgoing, but like her face would just turn beet red.
I'm trying to figure out where you got it from.
I think deep down probably my dad.
You think so?
But honestly, if I'm being real honest, it's probably from my granddad. My granddad was the social butterfly of Warner Robins. Like the ladies' man. I've never been like a ladies' man, but like he knew everyone. You know, you walk into a room, everyone knows him. You just so it's probably from my granddad more than anything. If that stuff is genetic or hereditary, I'm really not sure. So
yeah. Well, I don't.
What
recall,
about you? Yeah.
Thank you for asking. I was wondering if you're gonna. I don't recall ever having a actual sex talk with my mom. I think literally the first time I think we ever sat down and really talked about anything, I was like a senior in high school. I was like, yeah, this time's already passed, Mom. We've.
She's like, I've been there, done that.
And she still, I still don't ever really recall her having a.
I bet she would have felt so uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, I really don't think we actually had a talk about it.
And of course, you wouldn't have with Gary.
Oh God, no.
Lisa, Keith. I mean, anybody.
I probably talked. If anybody, it would have been Lisa. But even at that, I'm not 100%. It wasn't like a safe sex talk.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah. It's not comfortable. You know, I certainly didn't want to have it with my
No.
mom. But my mom's the same as yours. Very private, very, very, very demure, very, very classy, very, very naive, like, kind of thing. And so when that time came for me to have that talk with Jackson, I was like, oh God, I want to do anything other than this.
Yeah. Do you remember how you brought it up?
Yes, and I remember how I sprinkled in conversations. I remember one time having him trapped in the car. It was just me and him. We were going somewhere.
I think
He can't get out of the car. He's stuck. And he's probably I'm guessing 13-ish is probably when we kind of started having 12, 13. And I think I brought it up.
So he wasn't at that. He wasn't doing anything.
No, he wasn't doing anything at that point. And I brought it up. Somehow with animals, the whole I think he was talking about his dad breeds,
wow.
the dogs or whatever.
And you went with how dogs.
Wow. I basically somehow segued that into how babies are made somehow, and he's like, "Oh my God, get me out of this car, please! If this car didn't have the automatic locks while it was in drive, then he probably would have opened the door and thrown himself out of the car." But that was the beginning of it, and then I remember kind of just maybe circling back and kind of having a little bit of conversation again. And then I remember when I found out he had sex. And I found out because...
oh, yeah. A letter or something.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, anyway. So I don't want to...
Don't say it, yeah.
I don't want to bring this whole thing up. But anyway, I found out he was having sex. And so I'm like, okay, we got to have a conversation. So I made him come down. It was in this house. He sat at the bar stool. I said... I know you're having sex. You don't even need to deny it. I just want to know, did you use protection? And do you have protection? And I need you to make sure and understand why it's important for you to use protection. And, girls and blah, 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 whatever. And so...
Did he say, yes, Mom, I remember the conversation about dogs?
But he was like, yes, Mom, I know, Mom.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And, of course, his face, he turns all shades of red, obviously. And I probably was, too. And I wanted to do anything that I could to get through that conversation. But I was like, this is why you have to protect yourself. And it's not just from having babies. And it's from, the STDs and all that stuff. And, but then, obviously, went back and reinforced. Now, listen, I'm not taking care of a baby in high school. Like that, you have a baby in high school, I'm going to love it. That's, that will never change. However, your life will change.
Yeah.
there will be no going away to college.
Our life would have changed too, but yeah, there's absolutely would.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, not that I think that's a horrible thing by any means, but it's not what I would have wanted for him at that point in time. So, I think no matter what happens, even if that happens, like you adjust life and it's fine. It's not a big deal, but you don't start out, I think, wanting to have for that to happen. So anyway, so that's how the conversation. And then, hell, I feel like you're the one that made me have a sex talk with Lauren. Matter of fact, I know you did. You would not bring it up, and I'm like, God, somebody's got to say it.
Thank you for taking one for the team. Thank you for taking one for the team.
So I feel like you owe me.
I'll pay up anytime you want me to.
I don't want that kind of payment.
I'll pay up anytime you want me to.
I don't want that kind of payment. So anyway.
What other kind of payment is there?
I don't, monetary of some sort. I need some OnlyFans.
You're paying for her daggone the Christmas.
You said that's my Christmas present. You can't make that you can't make that as something for
Fair
this
enough.
too.
You actually said that was your Christmas present.
Exactly.
I'll be happy. That will make me happy enough. Okay, let me show up with no Christmas presents for you and see what happens.
It will make me happy enough.
Okay.
We'll
do the episode after Christmas and let's see how this turns out.
Yeah, I don't need a Christmas
honestly, but I don't
honestly
need it,
like Christmas Day is like it's the most boring day of the year.
Well, because we have always the way we've always done it is we do Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And so we wake up Christmas Eve morning.
I adjusted my life to fit in with you.
Yeah, because I had Lauren on, a few days leading up to Christmas and then Christmas Eve, and then she would go to her mom's that night or that morning, whatever. So anyways, we always have done Christmas Eve with the kids Christmas Eve morning. And then
we do Christmas Eve with your family
on
and
Christmas Eve
I don't have any family
evening
that does Christmas or here.
Yeah,
or anything,
so then it's just kind of for us.
Yeah.
It's kind of over on Christmas Eve, and then you wake up Christmas Day, and
it's the god awful. It's the most boring day of the year. The only thing I look forward to is we do a movie on Christmas night. I do look forward to that.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm jumping way ahead.
Yeah,
way ahead. So let's go back to this teaser.
Okay.
And talk about what we did, what we experienced.
Okay. Go for it.
Okay, so you all probably remember we talked about when I went to Ohio that the Airbnb most everybody felt like it was haunted, that there was a spirit there of some sort. Amy felt like that closet, she didn't get good feelings from it. Annie, as soon as she walked in the house, she's like, oh no, I don't like the vibes in here. And I was like, I don't really sense anything, but it is a creepy house. Like, it does give me the creeps, but it's an older house. It's dark out. You're not there. Any house, my own house is going to give me the creeps if I'm here by myself. Like, I don't really like to stay by myself. So, from that standpoint, I was like, But hearing everybody talk about it, I was more creeped out. And of course, they had said, Courtney had been somewhere where she had heard some woman who had said that you have to tell the spirit that you have to stay here. You can't come with me. And that keeps the spirit from coming with you. Well,
fake news.
Apparently fake news, Courtney. That doesn't work. But no, so we get home. After we did that podcast, we had our friend just send us a text randomly. I'm like, hey, my mom does clearings and she can do one for you. And
sends us an article of how it works and all that stuff.
And he said, I listened to the podcast. My mom does clearings. She can do one for you. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to turn it down. Like, if somebody's telling me, like, they can do this for you, I'm going to go ahead and do it, whether I feel like it needs to be done or not. And just the fact that he kind of was reaching out was making me go,
I mean,
does
just
he know
a different experience, anyways.
Well, and then also maybe I was like, okay, so does he know something that I don't? Like, what is
because it wasn't a asking questions and that kind of thing. It was like, hey, I listened to the podcast. My mom does clearings.
She's coming to do it for you.
Yeah. I mean, it was almost like you need to have this happen kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely was. And I didn't really take it like that at the time, but then afterwards, I'm like, okay, that's how I took it. I went back and looked at our text again, and I was like, he 100% felt like he saw something, knew something, whatever. And so, anyway, his mom comes and does the clearing. Now, they are Mexican, and I assume I can assume Catholic. And so she did the clearing. So this is in her family. This is what this is one of the things they do. Like when they're sick, when they feel anything
ailments, physical,
any of it,
mental sickness,
as well as like spiritual, you know,
and it's
cleansings.
our understanding, like, this is not everyone who's Mexican Catholic. I mean, there's just certain people who have this ability, I guess, if you will. That's the sense that I got.
That's kind of how I took it as
Yeah.
well. Yes, and so this is something that she does for herself, her husband, for his family, for our friend's family. This is not something that she goes out and does for other people. She doesn't advertise this, and so it was. I'm taking this very seriously because she's spending her time to do this with me and feels very strongly about it, and so I want to make sure I'm being very respectful of her culture and, you know, them doing this for me. So what happens is you have to have fresh eggs. So you had a friend.
That I knew had chickens that have eggs and whatnot, and so I reached out and I was like, hey, can you help us with this? Here's kind of what we're doing. And I had sent her to that article because she was interested in it as well. She was able to get me a dozen because they were like, listen, the fresher the better. And I would go and get a dozen because you never know. So I got a dozen of, like, literally straight out of the chicken, fresh, different colors, different sizes. So you knew it wasn't your normal, you know, just same size white
Kroger
ones.
eggs.
Yeah, they weren't Kroger eggs. So anyhow, shout out, thank you for doing that for me. But anyhow, yeah, so go. You want to take over?
Yeah, so we get the eggs, and so what happens is you lay down on the bed, and she takes an egg, and she's praying over you. So she's like starting at your head. She's doing it. She starts with the head and like does, you know, the Catholic. What is that called? That's called something, like when your forehead, side, whatever. Praise. I don't know. Anyway. And so she kind of does that all over your entire body. Well, so we go into the bedroom, lay on the bed. You have to lay flat. And she does me first. You're sitting over there on the chair, kind of watching.
Mainly just to keep the dogs at bay.
Yes. And so I'm laying on the bed, and she takes the egg, and she does a prayer, and then she's rubbing it all over me. So she holds this egg in her hand, and she's going all through my hair. She's going over my face. She puts it into your eye socket and kind of applies a little bit of pressure that way. And she does the cross, you know, like over your eyes and over different parts of your body or whatever. And she's rubbing it everywhere, all over the front of my body. And I noticed pretty quickly that her intensity of her saying the prayer is becoming
much stronger, much faster,
yeah. A little bit louder, a little bit. I can feel her energy. She almost feels a little agitated in doing this. Let me put him down real quick. And so I'm kind of just taking this in, but I have my eyes shut. So I forgot to take my Apple Watch off, and so as she's rubbing the egg all over me, she is going very quickly in this. Doing so, she rubs it down my arm, and it hits my Apple Watch, and it cracks the egg. And I kind of do a like, oh gosh, I didn't think about that, and I guess she didn't probably realize it. But when I looked at her, her face was just this, oh my gosh, like this never happens kind of thing. And so she's kind of talking to herself, because she has a pretty thick accent. Like, you can understand her if you're having a conversation, but she has a thick accent, and she was kind of talking, I think, to herself a little bit. And she says something, and you also have to get glasses of water, and they have to be clear glasses. You can't have like any painting or anything on them. And so you got a clear glass of water, and she goes ahead and cracks the rest of the egg and puts it in the water, and she's kind of saying something to herself, and she's looking at it or whatever, and she's like, okay, and she's like, this never happens, like the egg never cracks, like that never happens. And so she gets another egg, and she starts doing it again, and literally almost as soon as she gets that egg out and starts to do it, it falls on the ground, cracks.
She says it flew out of her hands.
It was like somebody smacked it out of her hand, is what she said. And
she said, there is something here.
She
said that a couple times.
After that one, was out of her hand and on the ground. She was thrown, and she physically grabbed herself like this, like almost like you're cold and you're shivering, you're like rubbing your arms, up and down, your hands up and down your upper arms. She did that and said, you have something very strong attached to you, and it was almost like it made her shiver. And it definitely seemed to, it freaked her out, from my opinion. And I don't know what you thought.
From what I can tell, it got very intense at that point. I don't know, freaked out. I mean, I can't speak for her, but her body language, her speak, like it, there, she was shook, for lack of better words.
That's exactly what I would say. She was shook. And so she is trying to kind of clean that egg up. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll get it afterwards. And so she gets another egg, and that egg, she does it, the rest of my body, and you do the front, and then you flip over, and she does the back. And when she was doing the egg, I'm talking, my hair, she was like, it was like everywhere. She is rubbing it all through my hair. She's like, likes to stick to your hair, and she's rubbing it all through my hair and over my body or whatever. And then after she does that, and she's praying the whole time too. After she does that, she had some fresh rosemary that she grows, and she kind of just taps it sort of all over your body as she's doing another prayer and whatnot, and then and she kind of put that all through my hair and everywhere, running it everywhere. And then I was done, and then you got on the bed. It was your turn, and
my experience was smooth. You have never met someone who does this as good as I do. I was the best customer. No, it was a much different experience, because Annie and I had said up front, you're probably not going to have nearly the stress, yada yada yada, because we just handle stress differently. But what I was worried about was, it's hard for me to just sit there with my eyes closed. You know that, and like from a meditative type. So and when I get slightly uncomfortable, I get this little smirk on my face. And so I kind of have that smirk on my face, and the absolute last thing I wanted to do was for her to feel that I was being disrespectful. And I was so worried about starting to laugh just naturally. I didn't think anything was funny. But I almost did. So when she got about halfway is when I kind of started to, okay, I can kind of relax, whatever. But here's what I'll tell you is interesting. She did tickle my feet, and it did tickle. And when she put it in my eye, I was like, this egg's about to break in my eye. Because she was pressing pretty hard.
She did press pretty hard on the egg.
But what I thought was interesting is, for anyone who's been around me at all, like my right knee specifically, has been bothering me for months. I had not played pickleball in months. And I can't squat. I haven't been So anyhow, without me even saying that to her, I noticed that when she was doing the egg down my body, she naturally, for just comparison purposes, probably spent 5 to 10 times more time on my right knee than she did anywhere else in my body, doing the cross and the praying. And the left knee kind of went over with it, but she spent a decent amount of time on that knee, and I didn't say anything about it, blah, blah, blah. Well, the next day, you probably remember me sending a text message. The next day, I'm doing a leg workout. And I promise, like leg extensions. When I tell you I have not been able to do leg extensions in 6 months, I'm not exaggerating. And so I was doing a leg workout, then I thought, let me just give it a shot. Now I did have my knee brace on, but I've had my knee brace on during leg workouts for the last 6 months. Still not at all. Like just the pain of just doing it. And I kid you not, I was doing leg extensions, and I wasn't doing a ton of weight. But I took a picture of you and sent it to you, and our friend was like, I said, I don't know if what happened yesterday is supposed to heal physical ailments, but what I do know is I have not done leg extensions in 6 months, and look at me right now.
Yeah.
And and my knee still bothers me a little bit, but not. There was something that she did that took that physical ailment away.
Yeah, so once she does the egg over your entire body and does their thing, then she cracks the egg and she puts it in the water. And
none of mine jumped out of her hand. They were all very easy. She cracked them, went right into the water like she's scrambling. I mean, it was like I had perfectly shaped eggs.
Right, and your yolks.
My eggs looked incredible.
Oh my God, your yolks
Yeah.
stayed like together,
Very round,
and
very
like
round.
And mine were kind of oblong shape and a little bit like coming
Well,
apart.
one of them for sure, and yours look
Well, yeah,
very,
the
very
one that
cloudy and
yes, and so what you do with that glass of water is you take that glass of water and you put it underneath your bed, up by your pillow. And so that night we put yours on your side, we put mine on my side, which was a game anyway because the water was so full that when
had to
I
sneak it
had to
under the
lean it
bed.
to get
Yeah,
under the bed, I was like, "Oh, please don't spill," and you leave it there all night long, and then you take it out the next morning, and you are supposed to get it out of the house. So some people say you could flush it, but we didn't do that because she puts the egg and the shell in there,
yeah.
so we didn't flush it. So she's like, just take it, pour it in a trash bag, take it outside, get it out of your house, and so the next morning I was waiting on you because you got up and went to the gym, and I'm like, I'm waiting on you to take these eggs out. And before you got home, Lincoln is standing in the doorway. He's in the living room, but he's facing our bedroom, and he's just standing there in the doorway, and he's doing that, and then he kind of looks back at me, and then he goes back, and he's like, and he's just like staring in there, like he's looking towards the bed, not not at anything.
Yeah.
I go in there, of course, there's nothing there, and he's just like, and then kind of looks up at me, and then he's just like, and he's done this before. He has done this.
I know once or twice.
He's done it at the house at least, staring into the wall basically, and then I want to say it was Blakely. It was one of them. It might have been Lincoln has done it at the store before. Anyway, so when he started doing that, I'm like texting you. I'm like, get the fuck home. We got to get these eggs out of my house because I don't know what's going on. And she also left sage, and we did not sage the house. We've got to go through and do the sage of the house, but I've done, I have sage and I do all that, but I kind of half-ass do it. So I really want to do it properly, which means we've got to open windows, open doors, because if the sage captures, the spirit or the essence or whatever, it's got to have a place to get out, and so you can't just open really one door and expect it.
So we poured them in a bag, took them out.
Poured them in a bag, took them out of the house, and
what did she tell you? So our brilliant cousin Courtney, shout out, said, you got to tell that spirit when you're up in Ohio.
Yeah, so
you got to tell that spirit you don't follow me.
Okay, well, let me tell you where this came from. So Courtney went with some friends to hear this person speak at, I think, the local library or something. And it was like this woman who was going to be speaking about spirits or whatever. And so she was kind of telling a story, I guess, about how maybe she's clairvoyant or I don't know, whatever all those things mean. And she sees them, and she saw one come home with her son, and she's like, oh, no, we're sending that thing back where it goes. And so she walked it back to wherever it came from and told it, you have to stay here, you can't come with us. And she said, if you do that, they can't come with you. So after we left the Airbnb, I'm saying it like 500,000 times, and I told Amy to say it, I told Lauren to say it. I'm like, everybody has to say it. So I was telling his mom that I did this, and she said, you dared it. You dared it, and it came with you. And
you were like tempting it, basically.
Tempting it, yes. And so, I don't know if that's true, if it's not true. It doesn't matter. I appreciated the clearing, and I take it, and I assume that it has worked.
Yeah. And we'll probably do it again. I mean, because she said she's welcome to do it again.
I don't want to bother her, and I don't feel like I don't. He said I looked different. He said I looked better.
Yeah.
I don't feel any different. I didn't feel like anything was necessarily going on.
When she says she's talking about her friend, not me.
Yes.
But apparently he has the ability to sees and kind of feels things.
I mean, honestly, everybody has an ability to be connected and with spirit, with others, whatever. They say that we kind of lose that veil kind of goes up by the time we're about 7 years old. But babies see things, dogs, animals see things, like they're there.
I don't want to. I'm scared. I don't want to see.
And I think most adults don't, because you just forget these things. You forget any of that. But anyway, pretty much anybody can be. So I appreciate him recognizing that and offering that to us. I appreciate her coming to do that, and I I'm all into all of these type of things.
Well, and I appreciate you, you know, being willing to do it, but also more so kind of getting me out of my comfort zone and being willing to do that. You know what I mean? Because like honestly, before it would have been like, no, I'm good. You can do it if you want to, whatever. And so when I kind of tell you, we had this conversation an episode or two ago, kind of like your best era is like the meditation is spiritual, the being open to this and that. Like that is my favorite part of you, and I think part of the reason it's my favorite part of you is or version of you is because Amy and Courtney are messages. Like Courtney knows what we're talking about. So I think part of my what I like about it is because like I can live vicariously through you with that kind of stuff. Because I'm not gonna just go research it my own. I'm not gonna listen to it on my own. So
Right.
I do get a lot of enjoyment and fulfillment out of listening to you talk about this and being open to doing different stuff.
Well, but honestly, like I listen to different meditations, and there are different frequencies. If you believe in the whole chakra system, which you should, because it absolutely that's all science. But you interact with people all the time. You're picking up and connecting to their energies all the time, and so these type of things really should be done pretty frequently. And I was listening to just yesterday. I did a meditation, and it was just on frequencies, but it was a chakra cleansing frequency, and it did 7 different frequencies of sound, and it was about a 30-minute thing. And when I tell you, like, I know I'm not asleep because I'm hearing the difference in these sounds. I can tell you I heard 7 different sounds and frequencies.
That's crazy.
Because it did one and then it kind of came to a silence and then it did the second. And so I heard all those. But it is the deepest, like I feel asleep. I feel asleep, but I know that I'm not asleep because I am hearing these things still. I can still hear everything that's going on. So
I'm gonna find what I'm thinking about this. It's like a new spiritual. I don't know if awakening is the right word, but you have different disciplines and that kind of thing. But it's something like some ism. I think it's
are you trying to
analism that we ought to try out. That they said is
analism?
very.
Are you really right now? You're not even funny.
I could hardly contain.
You need.
You know that
something
was good.
clear.
You know that was a good
Well,
one.
yeah, because the way you were looking, but for sure, yes, I got to find a clearing for idiots.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna have to look for on YouTube next. But I'm all about that stuff. I mean, just like the sound bath. I don't remember if we talked about me going to the sound bath,
Yeah.
but I thoroughly enjoyed that. I am into all of that, and
I think you did mention it now.
100% makes such a difference in my life. So I'm all about it. So if you're interested, message me and we'll talk about it. And what Courtney and Amy are probably messaging you about, I was asking because for dinner, I made chicken and dumplings. I call it chicken and dumplings. If I was in Ohio, I would have called it chicken and noodles, which is kind of a different we talked about. Do we have, and that's what I was asking them about. I'm like, who made us at Thanksgiving? Who made like chicken and noodles for us? Because I don't ever remember. I know my mom never made them. I had to learn. I had a boyfriend in high school, and his mom made. Oh my God!
But you did make noodles when we first started dating, and I loved them.
She's the one that taught me how to make them. And oh my God, like she could.
They are good.
Ooh, she could cook. Anyway, so I made the frozen version because I wasn't about to make real noodles today, but they were still pretty good. And
but with the chicken and dumplings, Annie eats them with mashed potatoes. So she'll do a little thing of mashed potatoes and then put the chicken and dumplings on top. And so we had this last year, and
listen, you put the mashed potatoes and you make a bowl.
Okay.
You make like a little.
See, I don't even know how to do it.
Like
That
it's like
makes
for
sense,
a pond. It's like a little holding.
Or a retention pond.
It's like a little retention pond for your dumplings, noodles.
So I remember doing this last year, and I remember this conversation coming up, and I said, well,
People were haters.
Since
These
we, oh my God.
My
so,
God.
So since we only do it once a year, I posted again today, and I said, here's our annual picture of chicken and dumplings and mashed potatoes. I said, is this a Southern thing, meaning from me, or is this a Midwestern thing, meaning from Annie since she's from Ohio? And I said, now, let me go on and tell y'all, because I learned from last year, don't be coming on here with that, that's 2 starches in a meal bullshit, because your ass ain't eating healthy. That's what I'm going to tell you. Your ass ain't eating healthy talking about 2 starches in a meal.
Don't
anyhow,
knock it until you try it, because I'm telling you,
it really is good.
That combination.
I
Doesn't get
would
any
not
better.
want it often because it doesn't fulfill me that way. But it is
The ultimate comfort
I
food
could see
for
it. If
me.
it was cold, if it was like freezing cold and rainy like it is today, it's certainly a comfort food from that respect. So anyhow, I put it up for discussion, and I guess Amy and Courtney are probably trying to weigh in. And then just glancing at it, a lot of people are like, it's not a southern thing because we just like chicken and dumplings by themselves here, and some people are like it's a northern thing, and some people are like it's a midwestern thing.
But
So
it's dumplings down here. It's noodles. I never
Yeah.
said dumplings
Okay.
in Ohio. It was noodles.
yeah,
And
what
they were
you used
homemade
to make
noodles. We
here
made
was a
home-
lot different than
It
yeah,
is. It's a
yeah.
noodle. It's a you make your noodle from egg and flour,
Yeah.
and you cut them out, you dry them. And
You're trying to
then-
get a noodle machine, aren't you?
No.
Doesn't the mixer we have a noodle attachment?
I don't know, but it's not the same. You cannot get the same type of noodle.
Oh, versus cutting it?
Yeah.
Okay, or rolling it or whatever
Yes,
you do.
it's-
Okay.
That would be too probably
Let's do that soon.
perfect.
Let's do that soon.
Make noodles?
Yeah.
I would love to do noodles around Christmas time. That would be
Yeah,
great.
let's do that.
Yeah, let's do
New
that.
tradition.
Speaking of, I have cupcakes to go make because it is my favorite
Bub
son's
and I.
birthday
Bub and I. tomorrow.
We
doing a birthday dinner and everything.
How old is he? Is he gonna
He'll
be
be 24. Yeah.
So 23 years ago, I had already gone to the hospital at this point in time. Just gonna reminisce.
Okay.
I had my water had broken, and I was at the hospital, just being admitted. And then at 3:55, here he comes. It makes me want to cry. Anyway.
Mub and I to get a
Happy
birthday
birthday
dinner. Mub
to
and I
my
to get cupcakes.
favorite son. He doesn't listen, but
Mub
I'm
and
telling
I.
him.
He doesn't listen to our podcast?
No, he didn't listen.
Well, you know what I think about that shit? You see this hat? That's what I think about that. I was trying to rep my boy Southern
bet-
Picket Fence.
go pick that
That
hat
shit's
up.
on the floor right now.
Go pick that hat
You
up.
listen, you get advertised.
Also, just in case anyone needs to know, Southern Picket, they also, Jackson's offering, he'll do quotes for stains on your fences now, too. So you need to get your
Is that
fence
until
stained.
people pay us, we ain't mentioning shit.
Look,
Oh, no.
I am going to mention him. I am going to help his business. And that
Marissa
stain,
keeps trying to Venmo us $80.
Well,
She
to
gonna
be
find any
fair-
way to Venmo us $80.
To be fair, I do have the Cash App on the,
Yeah.
I put it in the notes.
You should do that.
I know I do.
We've not had anybody pay us.
Yes, Marissa, that
Oh.
one time. And I'm like, no, ma'am.
Y'all
you're
don't
getting
let
this
listen.
$80
Y'all
back.
don't let Marissa outdo y'all. Don't let Marissa be the only one paying us on that Cash App. All right.
Anyway, okay. Was
What-
there anything else?
No, I think we talked about maybe do we get into like holiday traditions, but I think we'll do that next time, right? Because it'll be after Thanksgiving. No, actually, it won't be because Thanksgiving's next Thursday.
Yes, so we'll have a podcast next week, and we can kind of talk about.
We're not going to take off for the holidays.
Talent. Actually, we might need
Talent
to.
says his contract enables him to be off the week of Thanksgiving and the week of Christmas.
Maybe what we can do is let's talk about traditions. What traditions, like Thanksgiving traditions, that we either grew up with or we currently do, and we'll also talk about like the food portion of it, like what type of food we had in the north versus down here, and then I would love for you guys to email us, to DM us, to tell us the different traditions that you have. If you
Yeah,
have
that would be
traditions.
fun.
I mean, just for example,
Noodle
like a lot of
recipes.
people are, it's two sides of the coin. It's either you're pro, put your Christmas stuff out before Thanksgiving, or you're hardcore, absolutely not until after Thanksgiving Day.
And then the cleanup. When do you do that? When you take the tree down?
Yeah, I don't
Is
care
it
about
after
any of that.
after New Year's or before New Year's? Do you eat the
It's-
black eyed peas, like all the stuff?
Well, I was kind of sticking to around Thanksgiving transitions? No, traditions.
Okay, well, whatever.
Anyway,
I'm talented.
I thought we might do something like that.
Yeah, that'd
And
be a
then-
lot of fun.
Because that's why I was asking Courtney and Amy. I'm like, what did we do for Thanksgiving? And they're both like, well, we were with our other families. And I'm like, well, fuck.
Y'all
I
did
think
nothing.
had
I bet y'all
Thanksgiving.
did nothing.
We didn't, because my mom, like, I do remember her doing she would do cranberry salad. And she did, maybe Aaron might call it something different. Aaron's the only one I know that loved it. He loved her recipe for her cranberry salad, I guess she called it. fresh cranberries, and she made that. I never ever tried it, not one time. But she had the chopper, and it was the chopper that you press down and it makes it go around,
yeah.
and that thing was rusty, and it was like. I mean, that's every
rust.
That's
Rust
how you knew it was
sound while
Thanksgiving.
you're cooking's not good because that means that you're getting some rust in your food.
That was a core memory, but oh shit. But I don't remember who we had Thanksgiving with, and I'm like, where have my childhood memories gone?
No.
I can remember that Chopper, but I don't remember.
She can remember her boyfriend named Chopper too.
Oh, there was a Chopper, but he's dead now. So anyway,
I wasn't gonna say that.
We'll end on that.
Yeah, jeez. All right, listen, y'all go do some research on alienism and tell me what y'all think about it.
Hit.
Girl, after what we talked about last week, you think that's bad? Girl, please.
Oh my God.
All right, love y'all. Give us likes, subscribe. No, you're about to do all that stuff at the end. All right, love you guys.
Bye.